Hi guys, it's Ella here, and today I am going to try out a new resin mixer. I have never used a resin mixer in my life, but last year I was preparing for my Christmas market. It was a 40-day long market, so I had to prepare all of my inventory in advance. I was pouring like 8 hours a day, and probably at least 3 hours of that was just mixing resin, and my wrist was hurting so much. So when Resiners reached out and asked me if I wanted to try any of the new products, their resin mixer immediately came to my mind, and now I'm finally going to try it out. Hopefully at the end of this video my resin life will be 100 times easier. But first, let's unbox this to see what's inside. Okay, so this is what the box looks like. It's kind of small, just the size of my palm. So I'm not sure how much I'll be able to mix. And warranty card, instructions, and then they have the pad, and it's silicone mixing pads. There are 2 of them. There are 4 of them. Not sure what these are. Screwdriver, cable, this is looks like this. The mixing pads go in here. Oh, okay. So you just I gotta figure this out. So, and then this is the base, and then thing, and like that. We need to assemble the mixer before we can use it, so I'm going to do that first. I am pretty much just following the instructions provided in the box. have some ring holders that I need to finish up, so we are going to mix up some Total Boat Thickset Fathom for this. This is the perfect resin for me to test this mixer because it has a long work time, so I know my resin won't flash cure on me if I mix a little too long. Or if I need some time to figure out how the mixer works, I'll have the time with this resin. I measured out the resin according to the instructions, and now I'm ready to mix it up. I am plugging in the mixer, but I realized after that this mixer is actually wireless. You just have to charge it up and it will work wherever you go. So what I'm doing is useless now because it did have some charge out of the box, but if you need to charge your mixer, the plug is in the back. Then I also can't seem to get the silicone mixing pad to click into place, so it was kind of falling off whenever I moved the mixer too hard or whenever I'm done mixing. I was still able to use it, so this is the real-time mixing. It is quite slow right now. I heard it click when I turned the knob, so initially I thought I was setting a timer for that, and I thought that the speed depended on which side of the mixer I was using. I was wrong about that. I had it mixing like this for 3 minutes before I realized that this knob was not the timer and I use it to adjust the speed. So now I am just seeing what the different speeds are. For this left side of the mixer, at certain points when I am turning the knob, I will hear some clicks, but the other side, I don't hear any clicks. I wasn't sure why, so yeah. I sped up the mixing and this is the real-time mixing still. I figured it's best to show you the real-time mixing of this mixer, and then I left it at this setting for another 3 minutes. I will cut out a good bit of the mixing part just to save us some time, but yeah, this is the mixer in action in real time. Now it's 6 minutes since we first mixed up the resin. I'm just going to hand mix this a little bit to scrape the sides and the bottom of the cup. The wire got in my way, but again, you don't need the mixer connected to the wire to use it. I am getting off as much resin off the silicone pad as I can just to not waste resin. Then I removed it from the mixer so the resin is not dripping onto the base of the mixer where the cup sits. Now I am hand mixing for a bit because the paddle was just in the middle of the cup. It did not get the sides or the bottom, so there is definitely unmixed resin there. I did see some streaks in my resin while I was hand mixing, which indicates unmixed resin. I am not sure if you could see on camera. It was a little bit hard to capture on camera. So I scraped the cup and then I run the mixer again for another 3-ish minutes. I will speed up the rest of this mixing part to save us some time since you already saw the mixer in real time. Now that the mixing is done, I will put this resin mixture into the bubble remover machine to remove any of the bubbles that was caused from the mixing. I'm going to get as much resin off the silicone paddle as I can because resin is expensive. So this mixture didn't look like there were too many bubbles, to be honest, which is nice. I'm probably mixing a lot more of the bubbles in myself right now, but the last thing I want is unmixed resin, so I am doing this just in case. The bubble remover machine that I am using is also from Resiners. It is the Airless Pro, and I have a video where I talk more in depth about the machine and how it works. If that is something you're interested in, I will leave a link for that in the description and you can check it out after. While the machine is going, I will clean up the silicone paddle with some baby wipes and wait for all the bubbles to be removed. Now it's been about 2 weeks since I first used the resin mixer, and I have been using it pretty much every pour since that first one. And so I just want to share with you some more thoughts that I have on the mixer now that I've been using it for some time now. Before that, let me show you how the ring holders turned out. So the resin we mixed up was for this layer, which is the second layer of my ring holders, and it looks pretty good. and it doesn't feel sticky or anything. So that means that the resin was mixed well with the help of me scraping the sides and the bottom of the cup, of course. So don't forget that step if you're going to use the mixer for your resin. And I also have a full tutorial for these ring holders on my channel if that's something you'd be interested in watching. Okay, now let's move on to how I feel about the mixer now that I've been using it for pretty much the past 2 weeks. First of all, it has been a huge wrist saver. I pretty much went from mixing for 4 minutes to maybe a minute, 30 seconds even. So it's a lot less taxing on my wrist working with resin. And with those 3 minutes that I save on mixing the resin, I use it for the prep work. So things like gathering my molds, my flowers, my pigments, and all of that stuff. I usually do that before I mix the resin. Now I do it while I'm mixing the resin because the mixer is doing the mixing, and so I have my hands free to do other stuff. So that means I save some time with each pour. 3 minutes here, 3 minutes there, it really adds up. So now with this mixer, my wrist feels okay and my workflow is a little bit more efficient. Since I combined the resin mixer with the bubble remover machine, I run the mixer at full speed to get the resin mixed up as quick as possible. I'm not really mindful of the bubbles that pop up when it's getting mixed because I will put it through the bubble remover machine and then it will come out clear anyways. So that really speeds up my workflow a lot as well. On the note of efficiency, I thought I was going to use both heads of the mixer at the same time more often, but I actually don't because a lot of my resin has a work time of 30 to 40 minutes. So with the pace that I work at, I can only work one batch at a time. Otherwise, I will have resin flash curing on me because it's just mixed and sitting there and I can't work with it. I would love it if they had just a single head mixer so I could save some space on my work table. Of course, that is just my preference. I'm sure the dual head mixer will come in more handy than I expect in the future. But yeah, I'm definitely in love with this and I probably can't live without it at this point. It's definitely going to be really helpful as I prepare for my fall and holiday markets coming up. I think that's all I have for this video. I hope you enjoyed working with this resin mixer as much as I did. If you have any questions, feedback, or if you have any tips and tricks on working with this mixer, please let me know in the comments and I will see you next time.